everyone, my name is Jose Avalos, aka Dr. Logic8.
And this is Quinn Johnson, aka Quinjitsu.
And today we're going to show you how to use the different text tools that are available in the toy box in Disney Infinity 3.0. Now, these tools can be very, very powerful, Quinn. I know that you've used them several times. What kind of things you can do with these tools?
Well, one thing I love about them is that you can tell stories with them. So if you want to have like dialogue between characters, or if you want to have text that pops up to kind of prompt you what you're supposed to do, if you want to have like text that kind of like is the prologue of a level, there's all sorts of stuff you can do.
Yeah, and you can have it, as Quinn said, many uses, and there's actually 2 toys that you can actually use for that. If you open up the editor in the Creativity Toys category, you can either use the Text Creator toy or you can use the Text Displayer toy. Now, the main difference between these 2 toys is that the Text Creator, which I'm highlighting here, is used for custom text that you will input. So if you want to say like specific lines of text, which is what most of the people use, this is the one you need. Whereas the Text Displayer, it's more, it only has pre-made lines like, oh, hello, congratulations, or enemies are coming. It's a specific set of lines. So if you really need to use those lines, it will save you a little bit of memory, and that's where you would use the Text Displayer. And they're also useful in the case you don't have an internet connection as well, whereas this one does require. Now, for inputting text, we actually need a connection to the internet, which I don't have at the moment. But these toys, the ones that are right here, already have text in them. So how do you actually create text? For that, we select them, and we will go to the properties. And you will see that we have up to 10 lines of text, which is already an improvement over Infinity 2.0. How many lines were in that one?
Just 5.
Yeah, so now, previously we had 5, and now each toy can also store up to 10 lines. So we have text line that we have, oh, this is the first line of text, second line, it can be whatever you want it to be. Now, what are these properties mean? Text duration is going to be the amount of time that the text is going to be on the screen. So if, for example, you set it like to be on top of the screen and be 5 seconds, after 5 seconds that line will go away immediately. Now the text style is how is the text going to look like on the screen. So for example, you can make it up to be like on the top of the screen, on the bottom, or if you connect it to a townsperson or a locator. For now I'm just gonna use it, I'm just gonna go with top. And now I'm also going to show you a little montage of the different positions that you can see, that you can use.
Officer Judy Hopps, ZPD. Pleased to meet you.
Then we have player, which means which players are going to be able to see and affect this text. So for example, if you say all players, even if some of you are connected playing with split screen or online multiplayer, you will see that. All of them will see that text at the same time, and if it is a confirmation text or proposal text, which we will see in a minute, the text will appear for all of them. And now you can specify whether it can be only splits, local players, the ones who are playing on the same system, or the player who pushes a button or enter a trigger area. It can also be a specific player, player 1 through 4, or a specific team as well. So you can do competitions where the blue team will approach a clue and it will give them a text, whereas another team can also, get another type of clues.
Yep. So if you ever have a text tool set up and the text that you're expecting doesn't show up, check the player properties of who's supposed to see it, because that may be affecting if you're seeing it or not.
Yeah, for example, if player 2 is not seeing it, it might be that you put it only for player 1, or if online players are not seeing it, it might be because you put only local players.
So, one quick thing I'll bring up, if that's okay, Jose.
Yeah, go for it.
So with the different types of text, obviously, as you've seen in the montage, you see what they all look like. Obviously, the confirmation text and the proposal text are not affected by the text duration because those are only dismissed when you hit the button to continue. So, I mean, just a couple things to keep in mind is if you want the text to, and you also keep in mind that when confirmation or proposal text appear on your screen, it also stops all of your movement. So you can't control your character while that's up.
Why don't we test it in action, actually?
Sure.
So right now we are actually, how do you trigger text? For that, it can be when entering a trigger area, defeating an enemy, any kind of logic connection you can do. For now, I just have this action button right here. So if we put new logic connection pressed, now you can call the text creator and it can say dismiss all the text, which we'll get to in a minute, or you can tell it to display a specific line of text. So for example, it was the first line. This is the first line made with the text creator. So for example, if I'm moving and I press the button, now you will see that I cannot move anymore. I'm right now pressing the buttons, which is what Quinn was saying.
Yep.
So this is something also you gotta keep in mind if you want to use this text when there are enemies nearby, for example, because they can still hurt you, but you can't fight back because you're still, with this text on screen.
One thing that is nice about the proposal text and the confirmation text, though, is if, sometimes players, when they're playing through the level, text pops up, and if they're running around or whatever, they may not really pay attention to the text or notice it. So if you want to make sure that the player has to stop what they're doing and make sure that they read your text, then these are the text styles that you want to use.
Yeah, and also a cool thing is that the confirmation text that we are showing now on the screen only has one bottom prompt, which is continue. So whereas the proposal text, you could have, for example, continue or cancel. And if you cancel, it will exit the conversation immediately. So if you have a conversation between multiple people that the player has to read all the lines of text until they're done, this is the kind of text that you're looking for, confirmation, which is in the properties. And now you notice that I only showed one line of text, but if you want to play more than one line, for example, I want to play line 2 and line 3, the property that we're going to be looking for is called auto display next valid line. By default, it's off, but if we set it on, it will play first line 1, then it will look if the next line is valid, which in this case is not the default text, which is like, for example, text 3. So it will play the second line, and then it will look in the third line and see, oh, is this a valid line? Have we modified it? And since we haven't modified it, it will stop right there.
Very nice.
And now, again, the text style confirmation that only has the prompt to continue. So now, if we actually try it, I'll press the button, and now this is the first line of text made with the text creator for this tutorial. And now immediately, instead of waiting for a second, and now here's a second line of text, and it will appear. And this is a huge improvement over 2.0. How was it, Quinn, if you wanted to display more than one line of text?
Well, basically, because that auto display next line of text wasn't available in there, you basically had to string together two different text creator toys. So you'd say play line 1. Once line 1 is done, then play line 1 in the second creator toy.
Okay.
And then then you have to go back and forth, which could be a little confusing and complicated. So this one's much more streamlined.
Oh yeah, I mean that way that you did it on 2.0, you can also do it here if you want to, but you don't have to, which is the really nice boon on it.
Yeah.
But now we know how to actually show text in the world, but now we actually want to, make something happen. So what happens, for example, whenever a text shows up or whenever a line of text has already left the screen? That's what we're going to be looking now, the kind of logic connections you can make with the text creator. So for that, I will select the first text creator, and now we will choose new logic connection, and now we have all these options. So let's go over these one by one. Any text display, it will play anytime, it will happen anytime a line of text appears on the screen.
From that particular toy, that specific text creator toy.
Every time you call a line, that will happen.
Yep.
Whereas any text dismiss, it's similar, but now it will play any line of text disappears from the screen. So let's actually put it in action. So let's go, for example, any text displayed, and I will actually create a bowling ball. So now what will happen if I press the button is that I'm going to be calling 2 lines of text, and as such, at the beginning of the first line, it's going to drop a bowling ball, and then as soon as the second line appears, it will drop another bowling ball. So now bowling ball created, at first with the first line, and now if I call the second line, you will see a second bowling ball. And man, look at that. Like,
Very impressive.
oh yeah, like, man, those physics. So that's how you do it. That's what any text displayed means. Now, in the same way, for example, now we'll try the other one. Any text dismiss. So now we'll also create a bowling ball. And now what we will do is, now I push the button and you will notice that the bowling ball didn't show up at first. But now if I press the continue prompt, the ball will appear for the first time. And now once the second line disappears, now we will have the second bowling ball. And now this one did not stay on top. Man, a stupid bowling
What a
ball.
lazy bowling ball.
I know, right? So that's what any text dismiss is. Now let's actually go for other options. New logic connection, and this is text proposal accepted or canceled. This is only in use if you're using a proposal kind of text. So for it, let's actually change it. So properties, instead of going with confirmation, let's actually use proposal. And now let's make the logic connection whenever I say text proposal accepted. And now we will create the bowling ball again. So now what will happen is I push the button and now I have 2 prompts. Continue and cancel, which was the way that it was in 2.0. Now, if I say cancel, nothing's gonna happen because I didn't press the button accept. But now, if I press continue, it will drop the first ball, and now if I press continue again, it will generate that event again.
I think that's another thing that changed too, is when you say cancel, it cancels the rest of the text that comes out. I don't think it did
Yeah.
that in 2.0.
Yeah, no, the rest, yeah, that text will, all the text will disappear. So that's what I meant with, if you want to have a conversation that players will have, and you want the player to have, the full conversation before continuing, then you gotta do that. You gotta use better a confirmation text instead of proposal, because then the player will be able to exit the conversation at any line, and that's not what you want.
So the proposal text is really cool because you can connect logic to the different, like if you accept or you cancel the text, you can have kind of like a choose your own path type level and make different things happen.
Yeah, wasn't that a level you made actually for the Toy Box? What was the name of it?
It was called Choice Quest in 2.0. So I had a big, huge choose your own quest type level where there's tons and tons of different things that could happen depending on what your choices were. So.
Yeah, I remember it had a ton of endings.
Oh my gosh, there were so many choices you could make. It was
Yeah,
like this
I
whole
know,
field
Quinn.
of
You
text
went
characters.
to town with that one.
I did.
No, but Amazing Box Choice Quest play. Look for it.
Thanks,
it's
man.
a really good one. So that's what text proposal accepted or canceled means. So text proposal cancel, instead of pressing continue, you had to press cancel. And finally, you can call specific line dismissed, which will only happen when that specific line disappears from the screen. And this is regardless of whether, for example, if you have a proposal text, you have continue or cancel. If you press any of them, it will still happen. Mm-hmm. Or if you press continue, or if after a certain amount of time the line disappears. So this will be when that specific line goes away from the screen. And only then. And only that particular line. So for example, if we have it so when text line 1 is dismissed, and we actually make now the bowling ball, if I press the button and now I continue, line 1 will disappear from the screen and triggers the event, which you can see, by the bowling ball. But now if I press continue again, nothing will happen, because the event that we trigger is only when text 1 disappears, not when text 2 or any line dismissed. Yep. So if you want to have like something happen at the end of your conversation, that's the one you need.
So you're like, oh, I hear you like the text could say, "Here comes trouble," and you could have when text line 1 dismisses, and then have enemies appear or something.
Oh yeah, that's one of the uses. Right now, I'm only using the bowling ball as a way of showing, okay, this is when it happens. And finally, we have a fantastic option which is called dismiss all. So the thing that happens when you make text is that the text can stack on top of each other, but if you really want only that one particular text to show on the screen, you can actually do that.
So when you say stacking, when you say the text stacks on top of each other, I guess that could happen like if you have, if you have your text duration is 5 seconds, and then while line 1 is going for its 5 seconds, you go and activate some other text somewhere else, and then that tries to stack on top of, so they all stack on top of each other, and it can be kind of confusing.
In fact, we're actually going to show that right now.
Very cool.
We're going to be entering a trigger area that when we enter it, it's going to dismiss all the text from this particular text creator and will actually show me the line from this one, which if we actually go to the properties, it will say this is the second text creator toy, which is a different line. So the way for doing that is first, only for a matter of time, I will change this so I will have it 5 seconds, and instead of confirmation, I will say have it on top. So we actually get into that scenario. So what we will do is select the trigger area and new logic connection whenever, in this case, any player has entered. I will dismiss all the text that this has been, created by shown on the screen. And it will also fire, if we are on a line, it will also fire that specific line dismissed connection. So it will do that too. And now we will show the text from the second one. And what I'm doing as well is very important because the order in which you do this, it's going to determine what will happen first. So if you show, if you call first, text the line from the second text creator, say from this one, and then, call dismiss all from this one, it can get a little funky. So what we will do for this text creator is now display text 1. And now let's actually test it in action. So now I push the button, and now this is the first line of text, and now look at that. This is the second text creator toy.
And then it canceled the rest of the first text creator's lines too, it looks like. So
yeah, so now that's how you can guarantee that when you enter an area or fight some enemies, it actually displays that line of text. Because otherwise, what would have happened if I enter, the area, it would have shown first the first line, then the second line, and then the line from the second text creator.
So it can cause a delay and make it kind of confusing.
Oh yeah, totally. So that's exactly what it's used for. And well, I think that's it for this tutorial. Now, we've gone in depth with this, but you can already experiment and see what can help you, making your own stories, because in the Toy Box, that's what it is for, to tell your own stories and share them with the rest of the world. And well, if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments or in the forums. And well, thank you for watching.
See you guys later.